beautiful lie is a cup of poison poured by a gentle hand. This is Ogechi, beautiful, ambitious, and ready to pay any price, to trade her simple life for the absolute luxury of chief ease. But in this grand union, a profound taboo was violated, a dark secret sealed beneath vows and shimmering gold, for the wealth she craved was a bitter, forbidden draught. And the truth? Far more horrifying. Before we dive into this unforgettable story, don't forget to subscribe and join our family. Now let's get back to the story, starting with the chilling parable of the thirsty traveler. In the ancient times of our people, there lived a traveler named Obina. He was stranded in a scorching desert, his throat cracked and dry. After days of agony, he saw a beautiful, cool stream shimmering in the distance. He ran toward it with all his might, but as he knelt to drink, an old sage appeared and warned him, "The water is beautiful, son, but it flows from a serpent's poison well. Drink the dust instead and live." Obina was so thirsty, so desperate for the easy relief, that he pushed the sage aside and drank deep. He quenched his thirst, but the beautiful water brought a bitter, swift death. This is the story of Ogechi, who saw a beautiful stream of gold and drank deep, not knowing the poison that flowed from its source. Ogechi was beauty sculpted by hunger. Her skin glowed like fresh palm oil, and her eyes held the fire of 1,000 ambitions. She lived in a cramped, humid room in Lagos with her mother, Mrs. Akudo. Every morning, the noise of the city reminded Ogechi of their poverty. Ogechi was deeply in love with Chinedu, a young man whose hands were always stained with engine grease. From his mechanic shop, Chinedu had a good heart and strong faith. He promised Ogechi a future, saying, "My love, we will build a home brick by brick from the honest sweat of my brow." But Ogechi was tired of waiting. She looked at Chinedu's small savings and saw years of struggle. She looked at the city's billionaires and saw instant comfort. One evening, Chinedu found Ogechi staring out the window, her usual warmth gone. "What is troubling you, my jewel?" he asked, taking her hand. Ogechi pulled away. "Trouble is having a hungry mother and a small dream, Chinedu. Your dreams are slow. They are taking too long to grow," he replied. "Patience is the root of a mighty tree, Ogechi." She scoffed. "Patience does not pay the rent." That night, a decision began to harden in Ogechi's heart, a decision that was sharper than any knife. She met Chinedu for the last time by the Lagos lagoon. He begged her to stay. "I love you, Ogechi. I will work until my fingers bleed." Tears streamed down her face, but her voice was steady. "I am done with sweat and blood, Chinedu. I choose gold. Goodbye." She walked away and never looked back, heading straight into the beautiful golden cage the chief had prepared. Ogechi worked as an usher for exclusive events in the wealthy part of the city. One fateful night, at a political fundraiser dripping with diamonds and champagne, she caught the eye of Chief Easy. Chief Easy was not just rich, he was a big man. His wealth was ancient, his influence vast, and his power unquestionable. He was also old. His hair was silver, and his face was lined like a dry riverbed, but his eyes were sharp and filled with a potent authority. When the chief called Ogechi over, his voice was a low, smooth rumble. "Young woman," he said, "your beauty is wasted on carrying empty glasses." Ogechi replied boldly, "My beauty is for sale to the highest bidder, chief." The chief smiled slowly. "I like that honesty. I will bid on your life." Within weeks, the proposal was made. It was a marriage contract. He offered her mother a house, Ogechi a fleet of cars, access to his bank accounts, and a life where the word want would be a forgotten foreign language. The money was a flood, sweeping away every doubt, every memory of Chinedu. The chief signed the contract with a commanding, emotionless hand. A simple business transaction, Ogechi looked at the check with more zeros than she had ever imagined. She took the pen, and her signature was firm. She had sold her future. Meanwhile, Chinedu watched from afar, confirming his loss as Ogechi drove past in luxury, out of his world forever. The wedding was a spectacle that shut down the city. Ogechi wore a dress that cost more than Chinedu would make in 10 years. Every detail screamed of Chief Easy's vast, undeniable power. She walked down the aisle, her heart heavy, making the ultimate commitment. She became Mrs. Ease, the young wife of the powerful chief, trading love for position. The marriage was a cold, grand transaction. Chief Ease treated her more like a precious, expensive possession than a wife, his focus already elsewhere. Her new life was one of absolute luxury, yet happiness was an item money could not buy. She was the queen of an empty kingdom, and the marriage was cold. He was distant, often away on business. He never mentioned his past. Ogechi kept calling her mother Mrs. Akudo, begging her to move into the guest wing of the sprawling mansion. But Mrs. Akudo always refused, her voice tight with a peculiar panic. "Ogechi, my child, I am not fit for that kind of life. I will come and visit, but not yet." Ogechi couldn't understand the refusal. She was too busy being Mrs. Ease to notice the fear hiding behind her mother's excuses. One evening, Chief Eze was hosting a dinner. Feeling ill, he asked Ogechi to bring him a traditional tonic from his private study. In the study, Ogechi searched. While looking, she accidentally knocked down a large, framed photograph. The glass shattered. Ogechi picked up the photo. It was a faded black and white picture of a young Chief Ease standing beside a beautiful, youthful woman. Ogechi felt a cold knot tighten in her stomach. The young woman in the photograph was identical to a picture of her mother, Mrs. Akudo, that Ogechi kept in a locket. The same smile, the same eyes, the same scar above the eyebrow. Ogechi's hand trembled. She quickly hid the photograph, her mind racing. Why did her husband have a picture of her mother from decades ago? She delivered the tonic, but the chief noticed her pale face. "Is something wrong, my wife?" Ogechi forced a smile. "Nothing, chief. Just a sudden chill." The seed of truth had been planted, and it began to grow into a chilling certainty. Ogechi insisted her mother must visit. Mrs. Akudo finally, reluctantly, agreed to come the following afternoon.
Mom, who is this woman? That is me, my child. A foolish girl who fell in love with a rich boy. And the young man beside you. That is Chief Eze, your husband.
Why, Mom? Why did you let me walk into this poison? How could you do this to me? You were supposed to be my mother. How could you betray me like this after everything I've done for you? How could you do this to me after everything? You are a wicked, wicked woman. You saw his name. Why did you keep the secret?
I was protecting you. I was ashamed. I feared his power.
You taught me to fear poverty, but you prepared me for a curse.
Forgive me, Ogechi. Forgive the foolish mother who loved gold more than the truth.
Oh, Ada, it's you.
You wicked man. You married your own child. No. God, no!
This is a lie! He's my husband, not my father.
You have just witnessed the tragedy. The price paid for silence was destruction, and the consequence was far beyond anything anyone could have imagined. The scandal was the kind that paralyzes a nation. The media descended like vultures. Billionaire chief Ez dies of heart attack after discovering he married his daughter. The headline screamed Ogechi and Mrs. Akudo left the mansion together. The money, the cars, the luxury, it was all cursed. Ogechi didn't want any of it. She and her mother were stripped of dignity and wealth, but their shared catastrophe had broken the wall of secrecy between them. They held on to each other, realizing that survival required rebuilding trust, not burying truths. Ogechi walked back to the familiar, poor part of the city. She found Chinedu's mechanic shop. He was there, covered in grease, honest sweat on his brow. She stood across the street, watching him. She saw the man she threw away for a faster life. He looked up. Their eyes met across the dusty road. Chinedu saw the ruin in her eyes. Ogechi didn't approach him. She knew her sacrifice for gold had created a chasm of sin, too deep for even true love to cross. She had quenched her thirst with poison. She had paid the ultimate price for choosing the easy stream. Ogechi finally joined her mother, Mrs. Akudo, in the small, cramped room. They were poor again, but they were safe from the poison. Ogechi got a small job selling market wares. It was honest work, and for the first time, she felt a different kind of peace. She had lost the wealth, but she had saved her soul. The story serves as a constant reminder. The shortcuts in life often lead to the longest road of regret. In a village not far from here lived a farmer who grew yams. He grew tired of the slow process. One day, a strange merchant came to Obinna and sold him a magical seed. "Plant this," the merchant promised, "and you will have a harvest of giant yams tonight." Obinna planted the seed that very evening. By dawn, massive yams burst through the soil. Obinna was rich instantly. But when he went to cook the yams, they turned to dust in the pot. The yams looked golden and massive, but they carried the taste of bitterness and the poison of the seed. The other farmers, whose yams took time and patience, ate heartily. They learned that anything that promises a harvest without the required seed of struggle is merely a beautiful illusion. Like the farmer, Ogechi rushed for the instant harvest of wealth and nearly consumed the poison. Remember, my people, a life built on solid effort may be slow, but it will never crumble. My dearest viewers, you have witnessed the tragic mistake of Ogechi, who chased gold only to marry her own shadow. Tell me, what would you have done? Would you have chosen the slow, honest love of Chinedu? Or would you have taken the money, even if it meant a life without love? And how do you judge Mrs. Akudo's final decision to keep the secret? Let us know in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video to support more African folktales, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next powerful story from our land. Until next time, stay blessed.